All right, it is time to start a new topic. We are going to be starting topic 3, which is multiplication. We're going to be multiplying 1 digit times 2 digit and 1 digit times 3 digit. And we're going to be doing it many different ways. I have a new sticky note and I'm going to put multiply so I can find this chapter. Okay, so on the back of this page here, we are going to start our notes for lesson 3.1, and that is titled Powers of 10. Now, we've already talked about this some when we talked about place value. I'm going to give some examples, and if we remember what an exponent was and what our factor was. This was a factor, which is the number that is being multiplied. And then our exponent is right here. The exponent tells us how many times the factor is multiplied by itself. So we found that 10 times 10 times 10 is 10 to the third. And that would be 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 is 1,000. Now what we're going to be doing is multiplying this by a 2-digit number. So if I was to multiply, here's my examples. If I was to multiply 39 times 10 to the third, first of all, I know that 10 to the third is 1,000. So 39 times 1,000 is what we're left with. Here is my secret. The number of zeros here is going to be the number of zeros in your answer. Then I add my number in front of it, 39,000. This only works for powers of 10. My next example is 50 times, let's write it out this time, 10,000. So I'm going to say, keep my 50. That 0 is not counted in my extra zeros. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros I'm going to add on the end. So that ends up being $500,000 if we're talking about dollars, or just 500,000. Here are some patterns. We're going to talk about patterns as well in this lesson. If I was to multiply 56 by 1, I would get 56. If I was to multiply 56 by 10, I'm going to add a 0 on and get 560. If I multiply 56 times 100, I'm going to get 5,600. You seeing the pattern? If I multiply 56 times 1,000, it's going to be 56,000. And if I multiply it by 10,000, it's going to be 560,000. See how the thousands or the zeros match the zeros in our answer. So I'm going to just jot down here that we have actually, I'm going to write it right here. This is called a factor, and this is called a factor. Factors are the two numbers multiplied together. And the answer of a multiplication problem is called a product. And this is a product, which is the answer to a multiplication problem. Those are the two vocabulary words that you need to remember: product and factor. Okay? So those are the notes that you need on the left-hand side. Now I'm going to come over here and give you some examples. There are some examples that I'm going to give you two to finish on your own, and you're going to submit that as an assignment. And then you're going to go over to Savvas and you're going to finish the lesson 3.1 activities. So here is one of my examples. So this is our practice for lesson 3.1. Okay. Find each product. Those are my instructions. I'm doing 89 times 1, 89 times 100, 89 times 1,000, 89 times 10,000. Now, if you need to look at this, this is page 83 in our textbook. Now I want you to refer to this example on the left-hand side to answer that question. And then I would like you to answer this question. I'm actually going to give you an example down here of the next one. I know I said 2, but I'm actually going to give you 3. Okay, here is my example for this, okay? Or I'm going to give you an explanation for you to be able to answer this. 63 times what is 6,300? If you say it's 10, then you put a 1 here. If you say it's 100, you put a 2 here because it has 2 zeros. If you think it's 1,000, you put a 3 here because it's 3 zeros. And those are our examples. I would like you to answer and submit. Then you're going to go and do lesson 3 practice.